Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, Taurus, to your reading for June 2025. This is going to be for Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Many of you are intuitively guided. You're paying attention to your intuition, and you should be very proud of that. Your spirit guides are very proud of that. You could certainly be in love with the Taurus, platonically, romantically. Same thing. Remember, your guides are going to reach you, or they could have even sent you here. So I would say just be open that you may receive messages for yourself. Um, Taurus, I feel like this is going to be a good month for you. I feel like, I feel like it's going to have its ups and downs. But I feel like whatever the downs are, it's to show you something that I feel that you could pick up very quickly and then make a change. Um, it's like the sun's going to illuminate everything for you. But that means the good also, especially the good, or for those who are having a hard time trusting in the signs, your guides will make sure that um, you receive the signs. Even if you miss them, they'll send them again. I just know it. I just know it. So I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm just going to go ahead and get into your reading. So we will give Mother Mary the honor of opening up your reading. We're going to use the Gilded Tarot to go deeper. We will use the major arcanas really, I use them for bullet points, but many times they tell their own special little message. But it all relates. That's what happens. All the cards will relate to each other. We are using the Archangel Tarot for your main spread. So let's go ahead and open up the Tarot portion. And everything is always pre-shuffled before you get here. Just want to let you know that, but I do like to give it a shuffle with you here. You are my final sign for June, and I apologize I didn't have it out by June. But what I always find is the last sign seems to be the best. So we'll see. Whoa. Okay. Mother Mary has a few messages. Um, we'll start with what's face up, and we have action. Action. Today, I take action related to the priorities that I have previously put off. So, action-oriented energy. Oh, we have be strong. I pull myself up and do what needs to be done. There seems to be a little bit of a theme here. And then last but not least is Father. My true Father is God in heaven, who shines healing light upon me, my birth father, and our relationship. So, action, be strong, and Father. Some of you may have a father who is part of your spiritual team, and may be stepping forward in this reading. I feel like we have many different spirit guides. We're assigned a whole spiritual team before we ever step foot on this earth. But our spirit guides continue to evolve. So as our loved ones leave this world, and if they so choose, they become part of our spiritual team, which is kind of beautiful. Not kind of, it really is beautiful because they know us. But, they know us anyways because it is a soul to soul connection. So even though we may feel like it's only been this lifetime that we've known each other, you've really known each other for eternity. Um, so I have a feeling we're going to have some special guides, fathers, But even maybe more. By the way, happy Father's Day. Um, Even to those who, are mothers, but you're also the father. You're playing both roles. Celebrate them both. Why not? So anyways, okay. Let's go ahead and bring in the major arcanas. Let's give them a cut. By the way, the reason why I like to cut my cards before I begin a reading, and I cut every deck, is I want to introduce each deck into the reading as we go along. I'm going to bring the lid down. Not too far. That looks a little too far. There we go. All right. Taurus. Something has me excited about doing your reading. Now, I love doing all readings, but there's something. I just feel it. There's just something. I feel it. We have the Fool. So we're going on a new journey. This is about taking a leap of faith. It definitely relates to putting the past in the past and just extracting the wisdom of your experiences, but not carrying, anger, regret, and all those human emotions. This is about something new. It feels like something exciting. It feels fresh. Like fresh is the word I'm getting. So let's see where we're going. Fool's about taking a leap of faith. Do you dare? Well, Mother Mary's calling for action. And the Fool would be the perfect answer to Mother Mary. Okay. We have, well, hello, lovers. Following the Fool. Lovers. Okay, so the meaning of the card is ahead of a hard decision. And that could be the case. But here I feel like you're being asked to take a leap of faith. This is a card of Gemini. I feel like in the lovers, it's undeniable chemistry. You notice Cupid up there, representing the angel of love, so to speak. But I feel like it's really talking about angel's influence over these lovers. Looks like they're just about to touch hands. I have a feeling they can feel each other's energy before their hands even touch. So let's see. But following the Fool, then we have the Strength card, card of Leo. This is Strength card's really about going within. It's really finding balance over the beast within. It really gives you a sense of true courage. I feel like in the Strength card, we're just getting to know all parts of ourselves. The light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine. This, I feel like, is really asking for balance. But listen, it is an 8, so it also speaks of a new beginning. And if you look at her goggles, she has the infinity, they're in the infinity sign, as above, so below. No beginning, no end. And then we have the Chariot. Interesting, we have Gemini, Cancer, and Leo in a row. Chariot is also about balance. It's interesting because it's also the balance of the feminine and the masculine, the light and the dark. But what it speaks of is when you have this balance, then anything that you want to focus on, anything that you want to take a leap of faith on, really has unlimited potential. The Chariot is driven by your intentions, by your actions, your words, you tell it where to go, and it just follows. But keep in the back of your mind that it really is speaking about unlimited potentials and it's mirroring the full. So the fool about to take a leap of faith in what? Well, potentially in the lover's energy. Why? Why now? Well, maybe some of you have really been, working on your shadow self or really getting to know your shadow self. And what that does is truly gives you a sense of courage. And you never lose that courage. And then the chariot, it's the realization I feel that you're having, that things really can be limitless. I just need to put my belief behind that and then put my intentions and my actions. The fool's starting at the beginning, but is excited about this potential. All right, let's bring in the Archangel's Tarot. We'll give them a shuffle. And again, already pre-shuffled. Just give them a cut. This is the newest deck to the family. And I really do love it. Probably the only complaint I would have is the deck is large. So for these little hands, it's a lot to handle. Oh, that reminds me of a song. What's that song? Oh, I feel like it's by 38 Special. See if it comes to me. All right. Archangels. Like they're coming out in one big pow. All right. We have the Six of Wands. This is the energy of victory and success. This is really, to me, other people noticing what you do, potentially asking you, how did you arrive at this success? And I feel like you're more than happy to share that. See what it says: success, recognition, self-esteem. For some of you, there could have been something you've been putting off. And that might be why Mother Mary is saying this is a time of action. Because right away we have success connected to the Fool. We have whoa, whoa, whoa. Hello, Ace of Cups. Oh, especially with the lovers right there. Emotions, relationships, intuition. Look at that. Victory and success. In what? Usually it's relating to like your money and what you're doing in the world. But even like on a spirit, let's just use a spiritual lens for a second. Helping those who are going through something you've gone through. I mean, who better to ask advice from than someone who's been there, done that? Well, tell me, how did you overcome it? We have, look at this, the Chariot again. Double Cancer on the board, but sitting right next to the Ace of Cups. Willpower, victory, recognition. We have the Eight of Pentacles. I'm going to take 5 across, by the way. Education, focus, details. Eight of Pentacles, to me, it's the willingness to go into something, anything new, again, related to the Fool. But the willingness to go into something as the apprentice, but with the idea that one day you will call yourself the master teacher. Whatever it may be. I don't feel like it's one thing. Though I am seeing education, so I feel like for you teachers out there, this feels very good. But when I say teachers, yes, at first I do feel teachers at school or college, but I even feel natural teachers, like those with a life path for. You're a natural teacher. I don't know if you know that. Nine of Swords just doesn't fit with the rest. Negativity, worry, sleeplessness. So the Nine of Swords speaks of really unnecessary worry. That's the meaning of the card. And it's interesting because it's mirroring the energy of victory, but maybe because with the Eight of Pentacles, for some of you, maybe because you might be starting something new. Again, either with your money or in your creative world, and you may worry that maybe you won't be successful. Tell yourself you will be. Because when we think about manifesting, we manifest by the intentions that we put out to the world. Wherever our vibration is, that's the vibration that must meet us. So if I'm sending a lot of worry out there, well, am I not getting more reasons to worry sent back? But what if I change that around? What if I do believe that even if I'm just beginning, that I will have unlimited potential? The Chariot reminds you that the only limit is the limit that we put on it. But as long as you're willing to focus on it, because the Eight of Pentacles does need your focus, so does love. All right. And then we have, well, hello, Nine of Pentacles. Wow. Under victory and success. Two nines, by the way, following each other, 99. Contentment, luxury, independence. That is often what I feel in the Nine of Pentacles, is this sense of true independence. And by the way, Eight of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, and then the Nine of Pentacles. I feel like this is really saying believe in your abilities. The one thing I know in the Eight of Pentacles is you don't need to know everything, that you're going to learn as you go along. The right information, if this is something, I definitely feel if it's something where you're helping others in any way, then I feel like the right information, what you need to know will reach you, what will feel like in divine timing at just the right time. But when I say that in the Eight of Pentacles, you go in as the apprentice, but telling yourself that one day you will be the master teacher, boom, it literally shows. And the only thing that's coming between it is your worry. But let's remember that the Nine of Swords is about unnecessary worry. Well, how does that help ease my mind, Sandy? Well, maybe it doesn't ease your mind right away, but maybe it allows you to continue moving forward with something, and then the universe will take care of the rest. That's just how I feel like divine is like, we'll take care of the rest. I love the Nine of Pentacles, and it can be because I'm a Virgo, but you're also an Earth sign, and I feel Earth signs really need that feeling of being able to take care of oneself. Doesn't mean I don't want anybody else in my life. It just means I want to be able to take care of me. And it's literally shown victory, starting at the full, but realizing that you have unlimited potential. And not just in your money, but it looks like also in love. Where Mother Mary is telling you that this is a time for action. Wow, no wonder. All right, well, let's keep going. I mean, you have beautiful, beautiful energy out here. If we could just get rid of that Nine of Swords, then, well, goodbye worry. And, I'll be honest, I feel like this is more, you know, well, how do I want to say this? You may be doing something new, something you've never done before. Like let's say you're starting a YouTube channel and you've never done that before. So you really don't have a clue. Is it going to be successful? Will people find me? Well, this is what I'm talking about. Anything new that you're willing to focus on. And when I say like the right information will reach you, I feel like your interest will be piqued towards the information that will only help you grow, which in return helps your business grow. All right. We have the Page of Swords, truthful, analytical, outspoken, under the Ace of Cups. Well, I like seeing truthful there. We have, look at this, the Ace of Pentacles. Told you the last reading is always the best. Abundance, opportunity, resources. Maybe that's the word I was looking for. Like the right resources finding you at just the right time. And I don't really mean like in the nick of time. Maybe right when you're ready to know that you were meant to find it. By the way, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we have the Five of Wands. Conflicts, annoyances, competition. Well, I have to say the very last word I just said, competition, may be part of where the fear lies. I may want to do something that, a lot of other people do. And what's going to set me apart? Well, I feel like be yourself, number one. Number two, it's your own experiences. It is your journey that's going to set you different, that's going to set you apart. Though, in the same breath, I feel like because of your journey, the right people will seek you out. Whether you do it for a living or not, I have a feeling people are just going to come to you like, I need advice. I got to call Taurus. So don't feel you're in competition with anyone. The only one you're in competition with is yourself. It's like the lower and the higher self. It reminds me of having like the angel on one shoulder, the devil on the other. Who's going to win? The one I feed. Oh, how beautiful, though. The chariot not only has the Ace of Cups attached to it, also has the Ace of Pentacles attached to it. Wow. And by the way, the Ace of Pentacles means something's coming into your physical world. All right. Let's try to get one more card from this deck. See what's mirroring the Nine of Pentacles. Hello, lovers. Now we have the lovers here twice. Interesting, because the lovers is mirroring the Nine of Pentacles, but coming under the Nine of Swords. Relationships, emotions, choices. That's what the lovers is. It's a head over heart decision. But again, look at the angel's influence over these lovers. It feels like it's their time. We have the Five of Cups. Put this right down here. And then we have the Seven of Cups. So, Seven of Cups means that there's going to be a choice for you to make. It says overanalyzing, procrastination. Mother Mary already answered that. We have the Five of Cups right before that, though. Disappointment, it says here, regret, forgiveness. Well, I feel like with the Fool's energy, it's going to be important that we let go of, what is not working, what you've tried to make work, but just isn't working. There's got to be like a deadline, I feel. Of course, that's up to you, but something is telling me that. Like, I feel a spirit guide is saying, set a deadline. Interesting. Five of Cups. In the Five of Cups, you see this person is focusing on those cups that have been knocked over. It's like literally she's crying over spilt milk. And it is a five, so change. Anytime you see five, it's an opportunity to change. And sometimes it requires change. So when this person, it's just literally saying, ask yourself, where is your focus? And if your focus is on, again, the cups that have been knocked over, the cups that didn't work out, well, don't give up hope. Because there's two cups that are behind this person. They just don't see it yet. Right? It's when they change their focus is when everything else changes. Literally put you in a question mode. This page talks about truthful communication coming under the Ace of Cups. And then we have the Lovers here again. I get this sense for some of you. The Five of Cups can certainly represent that, this soulmate, because it really is a soulmate energy that's behind her. Again, the angel's influence, archangel's influence, actually, is representing the two cups that just have not been found yet. And I guess what I would say, if this is anyone of your past, because I do feel like the Fool's asking you to clear the past, or let me put that a different way, extract the wisdom of your experiences so that as new things open up, we're not so fearful of taking a chance. And that's literally what it is. It's just taking a chance. It's just stepping into it. You can always step away. Remember that. You can control you. So, Ace of Pentacles, something's coming into your physical world. It might be love. Well, I feel like it is love. With two lovers here. Actually, two cards of the lovers. Two chariots. So to me, it feels like two people whose vibration is very close to the others. That means to me that both must be in this fool's energy, free and clear. But that doesn't always mean like we're free. But clear, I feel like means if, let's say, I am with someone, but I don't want to be with someone, that's what like that's what it feels like. Like if I'm with someone, then, and I'm not saying this for everyone. I just feel like there may be a few out there who, you may be in an existing relationship, but it feels like there's not much left to it. Now, I know that's not everyone. Because let's face it, if two people, even if they've had it rough, but they're willing to figure out like what caused our issues, can they reunite? Can they come back stronger than ever? Of course they can. But both would have to have that realization. And for some of you, that might be the case since we have the lovers here twice. But for others, I feel like this is a new adventure. This is something that, even though you may be soul connected. So to me, that means like you'll be able to look in their eyes and feel something very comforting about them. And you to them. Remember, it goes both ways. Some of you may have someone reaching out from the past. We do have a page that wants to communicate under the Ace of Cups, but also connected to the Five of Cups. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that this person caused one of these cups to knock over. But if they did, again, truthful, honest communication. It feels like this person wants to give honest communication. So that feels good. Five of Wands, Five of Wands over here is really the energy of ego, fighting. But I have to tell you, I don't know why I'm picking this up, but I feel like there's someone who's envious of you. Hmm. They may give you a hard time, but I feel like it's stemming from that, like envious. But I'd never say that to you. It's like you're getting your shit together, and maybe they're not. Therefore, it's like, oh, well, now all of a sudden she or he feels like they're so much better. But that's not the way it is, right? And I don't feel like that's the way you're presenting yourself. It's just someone's feeling like they're feeling that your vibration is almost becoming untouchable. And that may make them feel a little uncomfortable. Now, some of you could certainly work with someone like that. Someone who may like shoot down your ideas one after another, and they may never listen to your ideas. But that may be a sign. Well, I'm not going to tell you to leave your job, but that could certainly be a sign, where there's a lot of resistance. You are meant to look like, why? What's causing this resistance? What can I do about it? Don't get pulled into drama because it won't serve you. You know, the Chariot really feels, number one, a number seven to me is very spiritual. And it's sitting between your money and your love. So it's not like it's saying, what are you going to choose, money or love? It's like you can have both, and they both can like soar. You need to believe in yourself. That's first and foremost. Like this worry and other people's drama is the only thing I see coming in between you and what feels like true abundance, but in different areas of your life, like more than one area of your life. All right, let's see what's on the bottom. We have the Queen of Cups. Can be, I was just gonna say Virgo, not Virgo. Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Loving, giving, psychic was underneath her. The Knight of Cups, unexpected couple fulfillment. Hmm. We already see the ace. I get a sense like this page, whoever it may communicate just completely out of the blue. You may be busy doing your thing, which is exactly what I feel like this is where I feel like you should get lost this month within your creativity. Because I feel like you have a real opportunity to create true abundance for yourself. And yeah, we do have to lay the groundwork. We do have to be willing to take a chance. But I really feel like if your worry is, will other people respond to what I'm doing? Well, it's showing you right off the bat that victory and success can be yours. Not just that, but the Nine of Pentacles under that. The meaning of the card is successful self employment. So if you're starting a business, then go for it because I feel like you'll reap the benefits pretty quickly. Maybe some of you, that's what you're doing, helping others to overcome like worry or anxiety. It's almost like doctor, I needed to heal. Doctor, heal thyself. The doctor needs to be healed first. Okay, let's bring in the Gilded Tarot and let's go deeper. Well, look who's at the bottom of the deck. The Knight of Cups again. So even though we keep seeing the Knight of Cups, it hasn't come out yet. But the energy of the Knight, oh, I just got goosebumps, which tells me I'm on the right path. So the energy of the Knight of Cups still exists. And look at that. It did not want to come up with the rest. Oh, it's not what I expected. All right. Ace of Swords. Did I just mess all that up? Ace of Swords. The Moon. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. Page of Cups. Now we have the Page of Swords and the Page of Cups. Also connected to the Lovers and the Chariot. This could be your inner self, though, your inner child. You know, you know what I feel like? I feel like you're remembering a time where you could just love freely. Like an unencumbered time. And who knows, maybe you're traveling back, but really forward, but back, like back to the future. The moon can certainly represent uncertainties, but I don't feel like it in any way would affect the Fool. Because I feel like the Fool is ready to take this leap of faith. So it must be more dreamy type energy. Almost like just following this energy that feels so dreamy. I don't know where it's going to take me, but I'm going to follow it. Ace of Swords coming before that. You know, Ace of Swords to me, number one is your truth. It's your voice. And it's coming over your victory. So again, where I could see you using your voice to help or in any way, why I'm saying help is because I feel like you are evolving. Otherwise, I don't feel the Fool would be here. I don't feel like the Fool would be the first card. Let's put it that way. But because it is the first card, I feel like it's the representation of you yourself evolving. And it may have taken time, but that's okay. Whatever time you needed. I can tell you this much. This is meant to make your inner child sing with joy. It's like it's calling to your inner child. That part of you that's unencumbered. Before the weight of the world could hold you down. I feel like it's also emotional healing, but I feel the majority of you have gone through that. This page is looking right at the strength card. So getting to know all parts of myself, but loving myself. And I don't mean in an egotistical way. Eight of Swords over the Eight of Pentacles. Interesting. Because right next to it is the Nine of Swords. Someone is just not believing in themselves. The Five of Wands right below that, which again is ego and fighting. What I'm hoping, which Taurus, you don't normally do this, but there could certainly be like outside noise that is stopping you from believing in yourself. Eight of Swords is a self-created prison. It's really where we're not trusting our intuition. Now, for some of you, I feel like you may have just put love on hold because you do want to work on your finances. You do want to work on your creativity. You do want to have this abundance. And that is, I feel like the Eight of Swords is really free will. But it's hard to really pay attention to your intuition or even the signs in the Eight of Swords. I feel like the lesson in the Eight of Swords is learning to trust one's intuition because, it's like creating a barrier around yourself at the Eight of Swords. Now, if my intuition is strong, that is my barrier. So anything that enters into my energetic field, if it's not good for me, well, the alarms will go off and you will notice them. Eight of Swords, it can be harder to notice them. And when you break yourself free from that, it's freedom, baby. It's freedom. And that's how the fool thinks. Like, I'm free to make this change, this, to take this adventure. Look who made its way out. The Knight of Cups. Jeez. First of all, over the Nine of Swords, won't won't. However, that doesn't stop it. Even the Eight of Swords can't stop it. It could stop you from saying yes, but it's not going to stop it. Every knight is going to complete their mission. And this knight's mission is to bring you a cup of fulfillment. Some of you may be like, when? When? I feel like that's why you got to look at the swords. Can we block things from coming in? Of course we can. Why shouldn't it? No, we don't block it from coming in. Well, though I do feel like certain opportunities, if we don't believe in ourselves, how's anyone else going to believe in us? But as it relates to love, with the lovers right below that, it's going to come in. When and will you accept it? That may be another story. But it is mirroring the Ace of Swords, which to me is about truth. And it is my yes card. But that is your choice. But I love that we saw the knight here. We saw the knight on the bottom of the deck here. And now it actually made its way out into the table. This is the third time. And now it's on the table. Unfortunately, it's coming over the Nine of Swords. However, this is nothing you can't overcome. Matter of fact, it feels like this is exactly what you can overcome. And maybe it's just a change of energy. I just feel like if you worry about anything new coming your way, the Fool is just willing to take a step into it. The Fool is the beginning. And where it ultimately ends up is really has a lot to do with us and our free will. You know, we think it's divine that's manifesting everything. It's us who's manifesting. We have that power. But we can also manifest fear as well as joy. And that is kind of like the law of attraction. I don't want to put a whole lot of effort into that because I do feel like this is energy that um I almost feel like as soon as someone sees it, has that realization, and then I feel like that's that. Like, I feel like you break yourself free. Doesn't mean all fear is gone. And often when love enters the picture, let's say, it can be fearful. Of course, it can be fearful. It can also be exciting. And some of the fear is really butterflies. Like sometimes we read it wrong. Like, are you like that person before? What person? I don't even know that person. Okay, because I just don't want to go back. I don't want a repeat. I speak the truth. and nothing but the truth. So help me God. I feel like that's what the other person is saying. All right, we have the Seven of Wands. Then we have Justice. All right, so Seven of Wands, it really is about standing your ground. I often feel in the Seven of Wands, because it's coming over the Nine of Pentacles, I feel like this is you helping others to put out their fires, the fires that you have put out in your life. You're now helping others to put out those fires that are in their lives. Stand your ground. Yes, that could be part of it. But I see no reason at this point why I would be asking you to stand your ground. It just feels more about the things that you have learned and the fires that you yourself have put out. And coming over the Nine of Pentacles, I mean, I love it when someone uses their own experiences to help others. And doing it for a living. And again, the needing to trust. It reminds me when I first started doing tarot, I very seldom talked about myself or my experiences. Matter of fact, the ones where I found myself talking about myself, I deleted. I didn't put out. I was just like, no. But what I've learned after so many years, but I hope it doesn't take you that many years, is not to censor myself. I started to understand that sometimes I may not understand exactly what the message is, but that the person is meant to hear it will. All right, so now we have justice. Card of Libra. Number one is about balance. It can certainly talk about cutting ties. It is touching the Five of Cups. But whatever ties are cut with justice, it immediately gives you balance. So if things have felt unfair or unjust, is there anything you can do about it? Sometimes it's energetic also. Like this Five of Wands down here. Those are other people. Those are things we cannot control. The only thing we can do in the Five of Wands is walk away. And I feel like that's the best thing to do. Like it's easy when you're around a lot of drama filled people to get pulled into that energy. But it doesn't feel good. Why? Because nobody backed down. Nobody backs down. Everyone thinks they're right. And sometimes you just got to say, so be it. You want to think you're right? Think you're right. Knowing in your heart that they're not right. But so be it, right? If they need it so badly, you can have it, but you can't have me. Even if you're working with someone like that. This is reminding me a little bit of Aries reading, who I did right before you. Because if you are in, like I say, in a working condition where there's just like a lot of negativity, um, and a lot of uncertainty, is there any skills that you possess, which I already know the answer is yes, but I want you to ask yourself, where you could go and then do your own thing. Sometimes it can be like a side hustle that then eventually becomes my full-time gig. Okay. And by the way, I feel like because the Ace of Pentacles, which really does talk about something coming into your physical world, it puts you in a question mode. Should I or shouldn't I? I know it's talking about the lovers. I know it's talking about the Knight of Cups. Because I feel like as it relates to your money, well, I do feel like you need to make some decisions there also. And again, just being careful that if there are drama filled people around you, that you don't get involved in that, that you keep doing your thing because it's showing you in an abundant state. And by the way, it's your abundance. It's you having this sense of independence and being able to take care of you. But what I was going to say, the Ace of Pentacles, I feel like it's talking about a few different things, to be honest. I feel like an opportunity for your money to increase, give you opportunities that maybe you didn't think were out there that just seem to find you, but also that love. So here we are questioning, should I or shouldn't I? And it's interesting because in the Seven of Cups, sometimes that question can come in a very chaotic time in my life. And that may mean some of you, again, still connected to someone, that maybe it's not you're not feeling true happiness. I really feel like what it's saying is you have an opportunity here to live life in a much more peaceful, loving way, and even a more abundant way. And it's all stemming from you. You know, if this is a job, and let's say you're just tired of it, and you really want to do your own thing, but worry is what keeps stopping you. I feel like now it's saying, please trust in yourself. If this is something you want to do, because the Ace of Pentacles will give you the way. All right. We have the Page of Pentacles. Well, there you go. That's a path of knowledge. We have the Six of Swords, exactly what you should be doing over the Five of Wands. That drama, what are you doing? You're moving on. You're putting the toxicity behind you. You're saying no more. Why? Because you've been learning. You've been growing. And the Page of Pentacles is a very chilled out kind of energy. Not like I'm putting in anyone's face like I know more than you know. No, it's just I know what I know. I know what I know. And then we have the Hangman over the Lovers. Well, I kind of get it because this doesn't feel like a time of heavy lessons. I feel like you've been through that. If anything, there is some clearing that would serve you. Trusting in yourself, I feel like is a big thing. Other people's drama and not allowing yourself to get pulled into it anymore. And where is the Six of Swords heading towards? The Lovers with the Hangman over it, but it makes sense because I feel like there are some components here that's really important for you first and foremost, and that may be what you do in the world, your creative outlet. Like sometimes we think love is the only thing. Well, it's not true. Our soul came here to experience, right? To experience life and all it has to offer, even the difficult things. Why? Because our soul wants to evolve. And that's what it looks like is happening. You're evolving, and those who aren't, well, you just got to kind of let them fade away. So I feel like the hangman over the lovers is just representing the right time. Because again, would you say no if you were still in that self created prison? Chances are yes. But what about if you are starting to believe in yourself again? What if you are allowing yourself to be more carefree, even with everything that's going on? What if you believe that all is possible? Well, that can change everything. Justice seems important because it is about cutting the ties, whether they're energetic or they're people, that have some toxicity and ego attached to them. And I just feel like I just don't want to be around it anymore. I just don't want to be around it. So you're jumping in the boat of the Six of Swords and you're moving on. Now, temporarily, that can feel difficult, right? Because it's change, but it is the promise of moving towards much calmer waters. Once you have these realizations of, especially when we allow other people, which we all have done and still do, but we allow people who, like the only way I can figure out to say it are more than comfortable living in lower vibrational energy. And it really is their choice. That's their free will, right? That's something we can't change, even if we want to. If they're unwilling, then they're unwilling. But that doesn't mean you should hang around, right? All right, I'm going to look at these two cards, Five of Cups and the Seven of Cups. We do have two pages right here. Like a card flipped, but I don't see one. Now I see it. Page of Wands, my little risk taker. My little risk taker. Very much like the Fool. What the Page of Wands would say? I do. I move first, think about it later. And it doesn't always pay off. And many times I fall. Well, what the page is learning is how to get back up again. Now, I often feel page is also what's in the atmosphere. So, passion. Page of Cups, love. We already had the Ace of Cups. We have the Lovers twice and the Knight of Cups. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, who I call my psychic detective. So she's coming over the Seven of Cups. This is you. It feels like you anyway, unless you're here checking up on a Taurus. This is someone who, what I feel, why I call the Queen of Pentacles my psychic detective is she can read between the lines. She can read the energy. Like somebody doesn't need to talk for her to feel their energy. It's like the younger and the current. I can't help but feel some of you with all these pages and the Page of Swords talking about truthful communication coming under the Ace of Cups. Some of you, this can be someone you already know. But then again, it could be like soulmate energy. You know, the one thing with the lovers, for me, is the chemistry. Like, I feel like there's an undeniable chemistry. And the angel's influence over these lovers, I feel like will make sure that they feel it. All right. I want to look at, I want to look at the Knight of Cups. The world. The next chapter. This love is meant to move forward with you. This love may be what opens up a new chapter. Or let me put it this way, it's a part of your next chapter and theirs. The world signifies to me a very spiritual time. And I often feel what happens in the world's energy lasts for the rest of our lives. Of course, you still have free will, don't get me wrong. But I wanted to know about this Knight of Cups. And now I know that this is part of the next chapter. But with the Fool, that next chapter seems to be very soon. Like, how do I ease your mind? I don't know. Um, I just kind of want to look at the pages with a general question. Well, my question was going to be, um, like, are you soul connected? Or, is this someone, well, you would be soul connected, because I was going to say, is it someone you already know? But there's a sense of a soul to soul type of connection. Out comes the Hermit. First of all, we're in the year of the Hermit. And this year is about reflection, but real reflection, spiritual reflection. We're in the year of the Hermit because this is the last year of a 9-year cycle. And the world represents the next cycle. You could say 9 years, but there's certain things within the next cycle I feel like go way beyond that. Number one, your money. You have the ability, if you trust in yourself. I feel like you already have the knowledge. And what you don't know yet, you will learn. But it feels like that's just the way it was meant to be. This does represent your spirituality. I feel like the Hermit has gone through the most difficult of lessons. But the Hermit comes out as, the Hermit's the old soul. The Hermit wants to share what I know, what I've learned with others. But I can only do that with reflection. But remember, when you see like anything that's asking you to reflect back, it's the final reflection. So it's not meant to last for 9 years. and even a year. Even though we're in the year of the hermit, which again is about reflection, and I already know the things you're being asked to reflect upon. But then once you, let's just say, have found that light, then because we're moving into the year of the magician next year, and I feel like it's going to be powerful. But I really am finding that many of us do not have to wait. You know, it's like when this reflection, when you know what you need to know, then it just feels like, or when you're willing to put yourself in the fool's energy, right? You know what you know from the past, you've extracted the wisdom, you know that you are the light. You're a big part of writing your life story. Then I feel like you're ready. You're ready. But anyway, so I was looking at the pages, and what I was picking up is this old soul. So it makes me feel like, okay, then you must both be old souls. That means you're both wise, probably beyond your years. Even the wisest ones can get a little fearful here and there. But what they've learned to do is break it down. Like, wow, what's causing me this fear? Is it real or is it illusionary? I don't know what I'm looking at. We have the Five of Pentacles and the Tower. So we'll just kind of follow the Hermit, which makes sense because in the Five of Pentacles, it often feels like a tower. And then you have a tower beside that. I feel like if you're someone who gives someone multiple chances, but it keeps resulting in the same type of energy, what is the one thing you can control? You. It's almost like the hermit is not denying that certain energy just kept resulting back into a tower. And that's probably why the Eight of Swords was created. But it feels like what it's saying, instead of putting barriers, remember that you are this old soul and you have lifetimes of wisdom. Feels like someone fell from grace. Doesn't feel like it was you. But it feels like there's nothing you could do about it. And so it is. Okay. I think what I want to do now is look at the Ace of Cups, keeping both the lovers in mind. Kind of speaking to my spiritual team when I say that. I don't know why, I feel like I want to give it room. So, two lovers. I do call the Page of Wands my Fool. So we could even say two fools. King of Wands. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But this is a king of action. And I say that because it does not have to be a fire sign. But this is someone who puts action behind their words. Mother Mary's calling for action on your part. But because we have two lovers here, I feel like, and they're both being guided, then both are probably being asked the same. You know what I feel? I feel like this is someone who will show me that they love me. All right, well, I'm not done yet. Remember, we have the Queen of Cups on the bottom of the deck, who I also feel is you. But loving, giving, psychic. Look at this. Wow. Temperance, divine timing. First message of temperance is patience. That is why the hangman is over the lovers. But the world is representing that the potential of this being part of your next chapter. I get it. It's almost like one doesn't fit with the other. So sometimes I feel like divine is putting a pause in the action, giving us an opportunity to clear our own energy, but also for this other person, for both of you. And how do I love this being orchestrated in divine timing? How do you like me now? I mean, I'm looking around, I'm thinking, do I need to clarify anything else? I don't think so. Because I feel like it's all right in front of us. And this hangman, I feel when this Eight of Swords is uncreated, which again is this freedom, well, I feel like that hangman turns around and it's go time. It's action time. You know, the theme is action. All right, let's go ahead and bring the clarifying love situations into this. You know, this isn't just about love. This isn't just about money. This is about both. Well, it's about life. I was going to say, it's even more than just love and money. It's the way one is going to choose to live their life and who they're going to choose to live it with. You know, sometimes the lesson as it relates to love is learning what we do not want. Been there, done that. All right. We have Moon Dreamer. Love illuminates even the darkest of corners. I got goosebumps. Love illuminates even the darkest of corners. And then we have lay to rest. Let go of lingering disputes and make peace together. Amen. And well, I knew that was going to happen. Let's go ahead and bring out, last but not least, the romance angels. I'm going to pick these up though. Give them a shuffle. You know, I love it. The temperance just came out. I should have said it is um card of Sagittarius. For some of you, that may be the case with the King of Wands right there. But it still means divine timing. Wow. Someone from your past is returning to your life. I feel like that's why I was having a hard time. It's interesting because I know there's a lot of people who don't like me saying that someone from your past is returning. But here's the thing, that is my life. Like, that's the relationship I'm in right now. And there were 40 years where we weren't together. So for me to leave that off the table, am I being real with you? Now, this also to me represents soulmate energy. Again, it's that recognition. I feel like chemistry is a big clue here. And then look at this. When? Very soon. Why or how? Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. It's not saying who you want, what you want. You know, you may have someone in particular in mind, but what I would say, since we have Divine's ear, I want someone who's loving. I want someone who's loyal. I want someone who's got their shit together. I'm not saying I'm not willing to come in and help where help is needed, but I don't want to raise anyone up. I don't want to teach someone how to love. I want them to already know that. I want them to want what I want. And Divine's like, well, boy, do I have the perfect person in mind. And I was just waiting for you to ask. And then here it comes. Someone from your past is returning to your life. I cannot leave it off the table that some of you know this person in this lifetime. But I also know it's speaking of past lives. I feel it. And that's what my guides allow me to do. They allow me to feel it. That's why I trust it. When? Very soon. I would say as soon as you're willing to enter into the fool's energy. You know, don't forget that reflection, it's like 9/10 of the law. If we don't know who we are, then how do we know what we want? I'll tell you how we know what we want, by going through the things that we now know we don't want. You know, I don't even want to put a negative twist on this because it really feels like it's just opening up beautifully. Like, I feel like this is the type of love we should just allow it to unfold naturally. And I hope and pray that you trust yourself, not just this month, but let's say from this moment going forward, and that you know that you do deserve the best in your life. But don't look back. And trust me, I have a million reasons to look back and say, what the hell? Everything has taught us something. Everything. Even free will decisions ultimately will still teach us. Or a different way of looking at that is every lesson is an opportunity to evolve. And every time you evolve, that comes into your life must also be evolved. Or it will, well, number one, I feel when you get to that point, you can read energy. You'll be able to read their energy. So believe in you. I feel like that's where we start. Believing in you again. The naysayers, let it go. I'm telling you, it won't be worth your time. Not with what wants to open up. And the world literally means what is next. And what is next? The Ace of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, the Nine of Pentacles, the Lovers twice, the Chariot twice, unlimited potential, but not just in love, also in money. Truth, honesty, freedom, freedom to be. And that's where I'm going to let it be. I love you guys. I thank you. Um, I want to say, boy, I hope this resonates. But I hope more of you are going to be like, Sandy, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was in the Eight of Swords. I was in the Nine of Swords. And because I cleared that energy, let me tell you what's happening now. That's why I love the comment section. And something else I said in Aries, which I should say more often, is because we have a mix of both female and males, read each other's comments. You just don't never know. You might be pulled into someone's comment and a conversation may just strike up out of the blue. Interesting that just keeps coming to my mind this month. I remember that. I remember that like being part of the messages like years ago. But it feels like it's coming back to the surface again. I'm not saying I'm a dating website, though if I could be, I would be. Because I feel like I know your souls very well. But anyway, let's just put that on the board. I love you guys. I thank you. I do apologize you had to wait for your reading. But boy oh boy, this feels like divine timing to me. It definitely does. So I just say go with the flow. I love you. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye bye.